Another video. Figured I'd do an intro again because I didn't do one on the last one because I had a bit on. Anyway, this time we're going to do a bit of work on Dad's truck. It's been sitting there neglected in the backyard. Put some different wheels on it. That was about it. It still needs me to build the motor. I haven't done that yet. But yeah, we do a little bit of work to it. Then after the F50, head up to the Walton Weldman Contracting Compound and pick up a new project. If you watch me on Instagram or Facebook, you'll already know what this project is. But we'll pick it up and we'll do a little bit of fiddling, just a little bit, smidgen of fiddling. So, we'll catch you after the intro, where we're diving into some semi-technical work on a 1980 Daihatsu F50. We're going to put some Daihatsu back in the Daihatsu. Alright, back from Jimmy's. Obviously that thing's done. Should hopefully not push any more coolant. And if it does, we're just going to build another motor that makes even more power. So, today, I'm working on Dad's truck. I grabbed some parts out of that parts chute. And we're fucking around with it today. So, the driver's side, I pinched the driver's side door card, but the vinyl was fucked on it, so I've got this vintage vinyl that was actually in the boot of the K20 that I got the motor out of for the F10. So I've got like 5 meters of this vinyl. So I retrimmed that door card. I've got to do that one so it matches because the pattern's slightly different, if you can see. So they did change patterns. It's very funny. I'll show you. I'll go and get the one that come off this door card and you'll sort of know what I'm talking about. There's a few different types of door cards. Anyway, I'll talk about that in a second. This truck I never got the keys with. So the parts truck I've got the keys with. So I've just changed the door locks out when I had this off, and I had to put the lock rod in and the door handles. These are from Malaysia, they're the repops. I've now got to change the ignition barrel out. Maybe the steering wheel, because this one's pretty ratty and the one in the part chute's not too bad. I just took the entire steering column. Getting the ignition barrel out of these things is a procedure on how to do it. So I've got the part chute's steering column locked into here. You can see I've got the key for it. Now, that is a factory Daihatsu key because it's got the number engraved on it, but it's got this weird thing on the back. So what I've done, I ordered 4 Daihatsu engraved key blanks out of Malaysia. I've already got them. I'm going to have a couple for Sarge because I've only got a little and big key for Sarge. So I'm going to get a couple more cut for that. They also match my F10 and they match the Beach 10. So I've got 3 trucks all with the same key, which is pretty rad. That's why I'm going to get a bunch cut. And then I'm going to get this key cut for Dad's chute. So, back to getting the ignition barrel out. I'll see if I can show you. Is this torch bright enough? There we go. You just got to abuse it a bit. There we go. So if you look, can you see? I'll try and get you in a good spot. Can I focus on it? There we go. See that tiny little hole there, partially shrouded by the plastic? You've got to insert a pin in that with the ignition barrel in accessories mode, and then the entire barrel comes out. You also need to pull the ignition barrel out to replace this side steering column plastic because it's only held on by the barrel. So I just dropped it, but I do have, there it is. You just use a little seal pick. Now, I've hacked this one up for other jobs. I'm hoping this one's going to work, but I'm basically going to go in like that and then push in the pin and lever off the plastic and depress that retaining pin. Actually, I've got a loose ignition barrel with a key, but I don't have any door locks for it, so that's why I'm not running it. I've got one in here. I think it's on the other side. And while I had the door cards off, I vacuumed all the mud out of it. There we go. Bingo. So that's the pin I'm talking about there. So you can see it doesn't want to depress now. If I turn it onto Where are we? Yep, so we're on lock there. Turn it to accessories, and then that pin should be able to push in. There we go. It takes a bit of fiddling. You got to sort of like hold the pin in and then wriggle the key, and then that pin will depress and the entire barrel comes out. This tab here is for the steering lock mech, so that activates the steering lock. That's also a factory Daihatsu big key, but this key is damaged. It's bent and it's got a crack in it, so I just keep that as a spare if I need to get one cut for something. I can't even remember actually what that barrel come out of, to tell you the truth, but it just lives on the shelf. Probably should have written something on that tag, but I didn't, so I don't have to worry about that. And then while I was there, I grabbed all the door handles and accoutrement. Oh yeah, I've got to put that on. I'll throw that over there. And another ignition barrel, because I think the one in the 10, there's a bug of wire in it, so half the electrical system doesn't work in it. And I've also got another, the indicator stalk's gone funny on this. It sort of doesn't work anymore. It's the original one. I figured it was going to fail. The good thing is, across all year models are all the same. So the one I've got in this column, I'll probably put in that. The other bonus is Sarge has got a buggered steering column bush, always has had. Down the bottom here, it fell out. I stuffed a shackle bush in it, and that worked, but I didn't do anything about the top. So I'm going to get a lot of parts out of this. So column bushes for Sarge, indicator stalk for the 10, matching key set for Dad's truck. So that should be pretty rad. And there's also another plug. I cut that off of there because the only difference in the year models is the early girls up to 80, this was a bullet connector, and then after that they went to the standard spade type. So I'll just cut it on the harness side and I'll splice it in. Anywho, I'm going to try and get this fucking ignition barrel out. Wish me luck. It's a cunt. Alright, I've already got it out. It actually came out pretty easy, but I figure I'll show you in a bit more depth. Now I've got the column cover and everything off. So that's the little hole I was talking about. And then I'll just drop that seal pick on the ground. That's fine, don't need it. So that's ignition on lock, and you can't push that pin in. So it's moving the whole sort of key barrel. So you put it on accessories, and then that, you got to sort of hold weight on it and then jiggle the key, and then it'll do its thing. There we go, hear that click, and then pop, pull your pick out. The pin's now up. It's still depressible. Yep. And out she comes. Now the one thing, when you're going to want to put it back in, the tab for the steering lock, it's got to go in that slot and that slot when it lines up. So you got to roll it down. It's got spring pressure on it, so you can sort of roll it down a little bit past it. Come on, big girl. There we go. And now when you go to put it in, you just sort of line the tab to tab up and give it a bit of a jiggle. There is only one way it goes in because of the shape of it. Give it a bit of a jiggle and she'll want to, bam, go straight back in. Yeah, that's getting a steering column or ignition barrel out of a Daihatsu. Now this is a Nippon Denso ignition barrel, so that's the same for Land Cruisers as well. Anything with any Japanese car really. They're basically the exact same ignition barrel, so you'll have the little depressed detent to get that out. Now this is a lot easier because it is in the car. It's in the bench bar, sorry, not the car. But when it's in the car, it's harder to see, and that hole sort of faces the dash. So it's a little bit of fiddling. You'll just have to pick around. So I custom ground that to get it to work. It's not the first ignition barrel I've pulled out. Yeah, so now we go to Dad's truck, pop the barrel out. I think I've got a few different sets of column covers, and I'll decide about the best ones for Dad's truck because it's Dad's truck. I want to make it look pretty. I think I've got a couple of steering wheels too. This wheel's not too bad, but it's split right on the top, but it's not delaminating around the rim like Dad's is. I could probably polish that up, but I'm not going to be able to fix that. Dad's is also split in the center. I think I've got a couple of better ones. So I'll just dig through me Daihatsu parts stash and we'll find a good one. So I'm going to go and throw this ignition barrel in Dad's truck now. While it's out, I'll go into my stash. We'll pick some column plastics up too. That one does have all the column plastics with it, but from memory I think they're all sun-faded and fucked. But that's right. We're going to have both anyway. And then we'll have a car. I can now take that key down to the locksmith and get it cut. So I have a key. Sarge's key sort of fits Dad's ignition barrel currently, but you can't put it all the way in. You got to like pull it all the way in and then pull it one sort of notch back. Like obviously you got the tumblers there, one tumbler back, and it works perfectly fine. So I took that to a locksmith. I marked where it stops. I said, here you go, just grind that one tumbler down. He goes, no, I can't do it. Well, what do you mean? He goes, oh, I can't guarantee that's going to work. I'm like, but I'm telling you it's going to work. I have done it. Just this is where it marks. That's where the the key needs to be. Just cut it. Just like skew it in the lock cut machine. He's like, no, can't do it. So this is the best way around it. I'll still get the keys cut, and then Dad'll have a nice factory set of keys for his truck. And be able to lock it with the key. Adam's truck, you can't actually, the ignition barrel and the door locks are different. And I know where the door locks are, and I ain't going to get them because it'd be a whole hassle. So now I've got to dig Sarge's key out and do my funny jiggle thing in here to get that one out. And you see what I mean about the steering wheel, it's all meh and meh. I do have the horn button and everything for it. And while it's apart, I'll also have to put the rod back in that. Shit. Oh, I'll sort it out. So I got the plastic off that I wanted. Sick. Looks pretty good. I'm sure Dad can clean that up more. I'm not going to bother polishing it. Gives him something to do. Wonder why stuff takes so fucking long. So this was missing a few screws out of it, the combination switch, and I was putting them back in it, and it's missing. There's a tab down here that's supposed to contact the back of the steering wheel for the horn button, and there's a wire that goes down through that little hole, and the whole wire's been cut out of the harness on this switch. So the good switch I've got on that steering column cut I was going to use in the F10, I'll use in this, and then I'll use parts out of this one to rebuild the original F10's one. Fuck. So always a pain. The annoying thing is I'm going to have a kind of a time getting the steering wheel off that other column to get the combination switch off because it's not in a car. So hopefully I can just clamp it into the vise and just yank the fuck out of it and it'll come apart. Anyway, now I've got to pull all of this column base off. What's that? What? Is this missing it? It's not. What is that? Oh, shows you how much I played with this truck. Anyway, I'm going to pull all this metal off. We're going to switch combination switches. So sick. So much for just a quick. Oh, here we go. Check this out. That's Toyota in kanji. They call it Tech. Some like Toyota people call it Tech or TEQ. Some people say it's Toyota engineered quality, but it's not. Much like the stuff that's printed on that Daihatsu box down there. Japanese is a phonetic language, so you got the first syllables Toi, then Yo, then Ta. If that last symbol's different, that's Toyota, and that's actually the last name of the original chief engineer and starter of Toyota. But they didn't like to use Toyota, they didn't think it rolled off the tongue good enough, so they went with Toyota. Yeah. I'm going to get this part now. History lesson over. We got no time for that crap! Another rig I didn't need, but I'll bought it anyway. Look at the offset on these fucking wheels. Interior's a little roached, but that's fine. Get a seat cover out of the States. Dash cover's there, it's not split, it's just a bit bubbly. Yeah. And then, you can maybe see by that badge. 6.2 diesel. Fuck, we're getting wild now, boys. GMC don't want to start. We've been fucking around with it all day. Just don't have the battery power. It takes two really big batteries. It's still 12 volt though. So it runs a pair of like 900 cca batteries in each corner. We just don't have batteries here, so we've been mucking around and trying to jump and carry on. So we're not going to worry about that. So we're going to snatch block and winch it in with the F-truck onto the hoist, so we can get the sump off it and make sure this knock that this engine has isn't a rod knock, because it doesn't really sound like a rod knock. I've seen it, well, I've heard it run before, and the knock it had was like top end. Anyway, we've got line tension, so I better start steering. Fucking hell. It's moving. Alright, now I've got to crank it back the other way somehow. Yeah, the winching stopped working. The F-truck battery we've been running in the GMC trying to get it started, she's pretty low. So Benny's come along with me on. And I'm stuck in here because the fucking post is right there. Yeah, fully sick. Just having a look, you can see where they cut the dash for the drive, passenger side drive, or left-hand, right-hand drive conversion. They just hacked the glove box and this whole dash bezel out, and then folded it over here to blend it. And the gear selector thing's supposed to be run by a cable, but it's not working. Headlight switches down here. Interesting. Yeah. Should take some getting used to. And we've got a UHF and a CB, which is fucking strange, but oh, that's the way she goes. Oh, check the fucking ashtray out. You push on the bottom, bam. And she's got a cigarette lighter. Has she been used? Fucking hell, she has. Oh yeah. Power windows, power locks. Fancy. I'm just waiting for Ben to winch me up here. Alright, we've got the pan off of this fucking haul. It's glued on like a motherfucker. But we got her off. And here's our problem. That's not real good. Maybe there's that one, but that one's slightly better. This one's real bad. The rest of them seem okay. There's side to side in them, but they're all got side to side. Might have to check the thrust on it. Make sure it hasn't wiped the thrust out on the crank. Everything else looks fine. But yeah, that's not ideal. Boy, yeah, it's coming. It's coming. No extra pay for this, mate. No overtime. Please be a good crank.
Move your hands, mate. I'm trying to get the shot.
That's fucking screwed up.
Fuck money.
Yeah, there's not a drop of bearing in that one.
At least the crank ain't broke.
Yeah, it hasn't run too much because there's no blowing in the conrod cap. See that? So it's all still. So you literally must have got a rod knock and just turned it off.
Yeah.
It's not ideal though, but I might be able to just roll some bearings in it. Call it good. I've done worse. Man, it doesn't have a bearing at all, eh? I reckon this one's probably just rolled a bearing around, so that one's like completely missing. Can I push a piston up a little bit?
Let's try to fucking get a look in there, mate.
Oh, I'm just pushing the piston up so I can have a look at the crank. Come on, big girl, get up there. There we go. Now we can't crank it because I've been that fucking corner. Try and get some thumb.
There you go. Move your hand.
Oh, it's all bad.
Not ideal.
Yeah, it's second day, Sunday underneath this thing. And I was able to push the pistons up a little bit, and then just look how bad that is. Pretty grooved up. So I don't even know if that's remachinable. Got a fair old lump on that side. Like it's so bad there's not even a chamfer on that oil hole anymore. And I don't know if you can see, did I show that last night? All the wear in that conrod, so it needs conrod too. So I'm currently looking to see, there's not many cranks in Australia. Well, none. I can't find any. But there's heaps in the States. So I'm seeing if I can get a crank out of the States easily. And we might just in-frame this. I can get a rod out of the States for like $140 US. But leave the block in, literally undo all the fucking main caps and that, drop the crank out of it, pull the box, drop the crank out of it with the block in the car, pull this afflicted piston down far enough that I can get to the gudgeon pin, knock the gudgeon pin out, and just stick another rod in it. Stick one rod and then another crank in it maybe. That's what I'm sort of pondering about at the moment. But being a 6.2 cranks are also a little bit difficult to find. You can get the 6.5s, which have a different rear main seal. This is a 2-piece rear main seal. 6.5s are a 1-piece rear main seal. The back of the crank's different. Now apparently you can have that machine down, so you can run a 6.5 crank in a 6.2, but you've got to machine the crank to suit the 2-piece seal. Or I pull the block out and have the block modified to 1-piece seal. So it's, I don't know. Anyway. So for now, the tyre's flat. Fuck. Oh yeah, that's probably why it blew the tread lugs off it. But, so for now, I'm just going to box it up because it's Sunday and I've got to go to work on Monday. I'll just put the rod caps back on where it's supposed to go, and I'll probably stuff the sump under there potentially to stop it dripping oil. And I'll start chasing some bits. Yeah, bit of a pain, but that's the way she goes when you buy cheap old trucks. Shit's normally broken, and it's fucking broken. It's weird. Weird that it's only done the rear tube right next to the oil pump, and this thing feeds the crank. The oil pump feeds the crank first. So it's like, how? Why? What? I pulled the cap off the oil pump. There's a lot of wear on the gears in there, so I'm wondering if, I don't know, apparently old mate only drove it for a month after it had an engine rebuild. It's been parked for 20 years now. I would have taken it back to the engine rebuild and said this thing just developed a rod knock, so fix it, but he didn't, so now it's my problem. But I suppose if that was a running truck with a 6.2 diesel in it, a GMC K1500, it's probably a $40,000 fucking car, so I wouldn't have got it as cheap as I did. But that's fine. I was pondering if maybe engine builder might be able to maybe weld the crank and remachine it, because it has taken a fair bit of meat off it. Fuck this hair. But I don't know. I'll have to do a bit of digging to see whether I remachine that crank or buy another crank. I don't know. But yeah, it should be alright. A few people have done a fair bit of Googling. I was up to like fucking 2 o'clock last night Googling everything I could find. A few people have actually done in-frame crank swaps, because these things are apparently prone to breaking cranks when you start pushing heaps of horsepower, because they're a cast crank. And I'm not really planning on pushing horsepower, so I'm not going to bother putting a fucking $2,000 forged crank in it. So heaps of people have just done literally what I'm thinking, is leave the block in the car and just pull the box, drop the crank out of it and bolt it back in. Like I said, the only thing is the crank's pretty heavy and you've got to like hold it up there as you're doing the main caps up, but I'll have Benny here and a bunch of other mates doing that, helping me out. So hopefully if I can get a crank or get this one remachined, this thing will be on the road pretty quickly, because like all the lights and everything work on it. Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna fuck around with this. To get the sump in and out, you got to jack the front of the block up because there's not enough clearance between the cross member. It's literally like 5 mil. So yeah, yesterday I just jacked off put a bottle jack in there to the bottom of the harmonic balancer and just lifted it, and then Ben was able to drag the sump out. Look how funny this thing is under here. Double wishbone. So you can buy all the 4-wheel drive swap mounts for this that bolt on. You've got to replace this body mount, so you cut them rivets off, them rivets, and then the shackle hanger comes down here. You fuck that sway bar mount off, it bolts onto there. Same at the back of the fucking frame, or the rear end, the shackle end, because it's fixed front swing shackle on the rear side of the leaf spring. So I was like, maybe I could put a 4 drive swap in it. And I had a look. Hill Fab, he's bringing in Dana 300s. So I can get, this is a Turbo 700, 4-bolt rear. I can get a turbo, advanced adapters to do a Turbo 700 to a Dana 300 adapter. So I could literally, pretty easily, 4 drive swap this. I don't know if that cross member would have to go or what the go is with that. They do it a fair bit over in the States. I'll have to do a bit of research. For now, let's get it running. That'll be priority 1. So it's not stranded on fucking Ben's hoist. Because as much as it's a cunt to get on the hoist, it ain't coming back off till it's fixed. So I'm just gonna probably get a crank for it. Anywho, I was hoping it was an easy fix and it ain't. I'm going to bolt this thing back together. All right. So, what do you reckon? A new to me, 1982 GMC C1500. Yes, it needs some engine work. That's why I got it in the first place, and it wasn't $40,000 because it needs some engine work. So if you know anyone that's got a 6.2 GM diesel crank and 1 rod, shoot a bloke a fucking PM because I ain't having much luck finding one. I've got lines on, well, Ben's got lines on, potentially an entire motor. There's another entire motor for sale, but it says it's running, but you can't see it running. It's advertised for like $3,000. That's a little on the high side for a motor that's potentially rooted. So the only other thing I can do is I can get cranks direct out of the States. The big annoyance there is the shipping's dearer than the crank. So I'm trying to do a bit of wiggle room. We'll see if we find one in Australia. So far I haven't been able to find one in Australia. The crank in it is too damaged to repair without welding. By the time it goes and gets welded, and then like baked basically, so the weld is homogeneous to the crank. Baked, nitrided, then reground. That's nearly the price of me just shipping a crate from fucking Chevrolet in the States. So I'm trying to do a bit of wiggling. Anyway, so patrol's going. I'm going to do a bit of work on that over the weekend. I'm not going to bother filming it. It's just little fiddly stuff. I'm basically going to finish it-ish and then sell it as a project. Or maybe I'll finish it and sell it with a blue slip on it and make a little bit more money. I don't know. But the Patrol is going to be my tow car. If I've got the GMC, don't need the Patrol. And with Sarge, the F10, the rock crawler when I get time to actually work on it, I don't particularly need a 4th four-wheel drive. Actually, 5th, because I've got the other F10 that I've got to do a body swap on. So I don't really need a 4-wheel drive tow car. So the GMC will fit that role quite well. There's been some talk of potentially a gooseneck pull car trailer, but I don't know. We'll have to wait. I've got to get running first anyway. I've got an entire shopping basket full from LMC truck in the States, and it's up to like $1,200 US at the moment. It's like new seat covers, it's the new like mouldings for the side of it, and just a bunch of shit. Anyway, we'll catch you on the next one. Keep your upside down. I have no idea what I'll be working on the next one. I've got that much stuff to work on and another new car to work on that's stranded on Ben's hoist. And as much as he says, man, it can stay there forever, I don't want to fucking leave it there forever. So I just want to make that thing like work. And then get it off his fucking hoist. So we'll see what we're working on. Anyway, you guys have fun. We'll catch you on the next round.